Yes, indeed. An insult to the fact-checkers. They might be giants on KRWF 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. It's your boy Wilson. What in the world is happening now? I curated a week's worth of wacky news created by humanity, and I'm going to present that to you today. So welcome. It's a beautiful day here in Fargo. We got a lot of snow, I'm not going to lie, but the sun's shining, and I'm happy for that. Again, what in the world with Wilson is happening right now? I got news stories that are, I don't know. I don't know how it ended up being this way, but it seems like it's a bodily fluid heavy show today. I don't write the rules. I just present the news. Right? So you're listening to Radio Free Fargo 95.9. It's community radio. You a business owner? You a manager? You got a non-profit organization? You considering advertising? Why not learn what underwriting is on a non-profit radio station like Radio Free Fargo? To learn more about what underwriting is, please contact us at our website, www.radiofreefargo.org, or at our profile on Facebook. Why not let listeners know that you support the community by supporting a community radio station like this one, 95.9. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. 1,200 migs of locally grown hemp whipped up into a fun tub with other stuff for your outer body. It's outer body butter. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show. Now, I used to do all the drugs, but thanks to the man upstairs, I'm coming up on 5 years clean, and I show him props every Sunday. 417 Main Avenue, Antioch Church, 10 a.m. recovery, 11 a.m. worship. We got tunes to give you today, too. So we got a lot going on. So let's get at it. Why don't we? Let's get at it. Why don't we? Or maybe I should say this first. Programming on KRWF, LP, Radio Free Fargo, 95.9 FM has been underwritten by Flatland Guitar and Lutherie. Flatland Guitar is your full-service guitar shop and your exclusive dealer for Yamaha, Taylor, Paul Reed Smith guitars, and other brands. They sell guitars on consignment. They take trade-ins and have a full-service on-site repair center. Check out Flatland Guitar and Lutherie on Facebook, or come by and visit them in person at their location at 1450 25th Street South in Fargo. All right. What do we got for you good people today? We got a lot of stuff, and I'm excited to give it to you. Now, this is from out there, Colorado. Mysterious poop chucker might be targeting Colorado women for not picking up dogs' waste. An interesting situation has reportedly been unfolding in Colorado's Mountain Summit City in recent days and weeks, believed to involve a vigilante, a poop-chunking vigilante, that's punishing those who fail to pick up their dogs' waste. Now, personally, living downtown, I believe we could use a vigilante of poop as well. According to the Summit County Sheriff's Office, a woman in unincorporated Silverthorne called a report that an unknown man had been throwing bags of dog poop into her yard and onto her driveway over the past month. The woman was able to capture footage of someone committing the act, also suspecting a neighbor as the culprit. Deputies reached out to the man that the woman listed as a suspect, only find that he did not match the description. The investigation into who the mysterious poop chucker might be continued in the woman's neighborhood, but no suspect could be identified. So this is how you start What in the World with Wilson. During the investigation, however, several of the women's neighbors noted that the woman involved is known for failing to pick up her dog's waste. One neighbor even noted that an unknown man in the area seems to be on a crusade against those who do not pick up after their dogs, suggesting that this person might be behind all the bags of poo in and up on this woman's property. The investigation into the situation is ongoing, with law enforcement letting the woman know she's likely being targeted due to not picking up after her dog. So there you go. And there you have it. So, what do we got for you here? This is from Virginia. Virginia Zoo responds to gorilla escape rumors. They go, we don't have any gorillas. Virginia Zoo responded to rumors of an escaped gorilla in Norfolk by confirming that not only were all of its animals accounted for, but this zoo don't even have gorillas. Social media lit up with reports of a gorilla on the loose following a power outage Tuesday night, and that's when they come out, you know. Power outage Tuesday night is when gorillas are on the loose. Everybody knows that, with several Facebook users claiming to have seen the large primate. Virginia Zoo put the rumors to rest, joking that the sightings were likely the facility's mascot, Zoo Squatch. Which, what a weird name. We heard talk of an escaped gorilla, but we think it may have just been Zoo Squatch, spotted on his daily run. But don't worry, he's made it back to the zoo, and our keepers want you to know that all of our animals are safe and accounted for, except for gorillas, because we don't have those. Officials wrote that any real escape would have been accompanied by a swift statement from zoo officials. Just a friendly reminder, while these hoaxes can be silly, you can be rest assured that the zoo has major safety measures, and they wouldn't let a gorilla just wander around willy-nilly. Now, I had a news story, and I was getting ready to do it, and I realized when I posted it that it was an April Fool's joke, and I'll tell you what it is. The title was Home Depot is going to start charging you for parking before you shop. And I thought, well, that's perfect for the show because that sounds wackadoo, right? And then when I went to post it, it says it was an April Fool's joke and that'd be stupid to charge for parking. But I mean, I believed it. I mean, why not? I mean, the stuff people charge you for is insane. This from New York Post. I drink my own pee for the health benefits. I also do urine enemas and I splash it on my skin to sunbathe. And I'm sure this guy is completely stable in his mind. Apparently, Troy Casey's received a steady stream of press for his unorthodox wellness regimen, which includes drinking his own urine. He says, I think it teaches your insides a little bit more about itself. What? Urine is stem cells, amino acids, and antibodies. It's the hair of the dog. He said it's a direct biofeedback loop. You know what's wrong with you as soon as you drink your morning pee. Now, I think that's crazy. Casey was introduced to this therapy by a breathwork coach who, after an unsuccessful round of chemo, claims to have healed himself of testicular cancer through urine looping. And what I love about this article is that they just, they're playing around with this. So they go, not so much teetotal as pee total. Thank you. I'll be here all week. What in the World with Wilson here on KRFF 95.9. That's what you're listening to. Now, after me, it'll be a palate cleanser. Won't be as rugged as TGIAF. So thank goodness it's almost Friday. Is up next. While Casey sold them what he says are major health benefits, medical experts are less convinced by this whiz kid's health hack. Now, apparently, though, that it has melatonin. It could restore. The doc noted that the hormone melatonin is a crucial antioxidant, and regulating melatonin can improve mood and sleep. However, due to the risk of toxicity and contamination, he says, don't drink urine. He claims he had severe gut dysbiosis and imbalance of the bacteria, and the doctor goes, hey, drinking your own urine is not a solution for this. I mean, I could have told you that, but Casey's not calling me. All right. So what else we got in this wacky world? Now, this is kind of interesting. Now, this is from the New York Post as well. North Carolina man dons bear costume to scare a bear. Operation Scare a Bear. He scared off a persistent real-life black bear. Now, there is a video, but I can't show you that, and I think the reason is obvious. It's a radio show for you dummies. A North Carolina man decided to take a more creative approach to tackling a persistent bear problem in his backyard by putting on a cartoony bear costume and somehow successfully scaring the unwelcome Ursid away, which Ursid must mean bear. I've never heard the word before, but whatever. I'm just a guy from Fargo. I don't know every word. Video footage captured a man in Asheville bravely approaching a ferocious-looking black bear in his own brown bear costume that looked more like a college mascot. The man emerges from the side, attempting a mock prowl while slowly approaching the wild animal, like a wackadoo. And you can Google this. There's pics. With caution thrown to the wind, the costume man kept inching forward, bit by bit, even growling at the black bear. And the black bear was successfully scared off. Like I'm thinking he's like he be knowing what's up, but he like, man, that guy is crazy. I ain't messing with a crazy dude in a Toys R Us furry costume. Before he got too close, the black bear appeared to have been spooked. Well, I mean, I was spooked just reading the story. It scampered away, but not before pausing at the edge to stare down his faux counterpart before giving up and making the way back into the woods. Now, the black bear has been spotted multiple times on the property, and the residents were fed up and decided to take matters into their own hands. Well, okay. And there you have it. What else do we got for you good people? Oh man, like I told you, this was going to be a heavily bodily fluid show, and I don't know how this happened. I just report the news, but this is from KWTX in Texas. Quote is, "It's a lot of pee. Man has no idea who's putting gallons of urine in his recycling bin or why." And again, there's a picture, and there's just gallons and gallons and gallons of this. So a man living in Portland is wondering who's putting gallons of urine in his recycling bin. Alex Van Dunn said the problem started in September when he noticed his recycling bin had not been collected. So he went to open the blue bin, and lo and behold, there was a nice deposit of gallon-sized bottles of urine, to put it plainly, and there were 6 of them. So we're talking 6 gallons here. Think of a 5-gallon bucket, bruh. That's a lot. The recycling hauler refused to take the bin's contents because the urine is a biohazard. Now, what's crazy is if it had been put in a garbage bin, it would have been collected. See, that's the whole point with recycling. They're hoping that the bottles that you want to recycle are empty. That's kind of how that works. But the mystery man didn't stop, and he kept dropping bottles of urine in the bin. Eventually, this guy's like, "I'm not even putting my bins out altogether." He's like, "I'm done." And he did, but hoping the man would quit. And he did. But he moved on to using the neighbor's garbage bins instead. I don't know why he's hitting the same location. That doesn't make sense to me, and why he's doing it. Van Dunn has captured surveillance video of a man showing up to his house, getting out of his car, and putting the bottles of urine in the recycling bin. Unfortunately, the videos are grainy and too hard to tell who he is. Van Dunn has shared his ordeal on the Nextdoor app, where neighbors have flooded the post with theories. And I don't know why they didn't give us any theories, because I'd love to hear some. He has filed a police report and is trying to get the man's license plate. I've actually started putting my bins back out again the night before and putting them in a different position just to see if I can get a better video. Van Dunn doesn't plan to move or do anything. He likes his neighborhood, but he does have a message for the mystery man. Maybe he's watching. I don't know. Please stop. Please just don't do it anymore. As frustrated as he is, he was at least able to make a joke. "It's a lot of pee. This guy's really ticking me off." And he didn't use the word ticking, but you know. Now, here's a little palate cleanser. This is a little easier to get into. It is fluid, though, so we're sticking with the theme. Finally, company creates world first self-cooling beverage can, which just sounds cool, right? You see what I said, Cool. There are a few things better than a cold drink on a hot summer day, but with energy costs and refrigerated or related carbon emissions, and aren't we just bogged down with that? What a burden I have to pay. It's high time humanity came up with a better, more efficient way. Codenamed Cool Can, this intriguing invention combines clever design with a simple chemistry to make magic happen at the press of a button. Claims the Cool Can can lower the temp of its liquids to about 6 to 7 degrees, which doesn't sound like much at all, and keep them cool for up to 45 minutes. Now, the Cool Can looks like a normal can, but it's got a large power button on the bottom. Has a hidden water container, and when you push the button, the water is released. There's proprietary salts and whatnot and what have you. Keeps it cool for about 45 minutes. Now, what I'm not seeing is the cost for this thing. You'd think this would be something that corporations would create. Well, where's the, I'm trying to find a cost for y'all, and I don't see any, so we'll just assume that that's a stupidly high-priced idea. And that's why I don't think that'll be the drink revolutionizing the summer. Now, I've got a song for you, though. This is Jesse Wells and Bugs on 95.9 FM.
Well, I have a reason.
Well, God bless America. That's Bugs, Jesse Wells. That's a great song. You're listening to KRFF 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. What in the world with Wilson is happening right now? I'm your boy Wilson, providing you a hour's long worth of just wacky-do stories by wacky-do people. Wacky-do people do what wacky people do, you know what I mean? And I capture it and I bring it to you. And so we got a bunch for you here. We ain't stopping. Man faces 10 years in prison for trying to collect all the elements in the periodic table. Now, let's just sit in that for a second. And I can't tell you how in the world that's going to get you 10 years in prison. All right? It seems to me like something silly. But anyway, an Australian man is accused of breaking his country's nuclear non-proliferation laws for ordering a sample of plutonium. Well, maybe that's a problem, in a bid to collect all the elements in the periodic table. Okay. In August of 2023, 24-year-old Emmanuel was arrested at his parents' house during a major operation and involved, good night, Border Force officials, firefighters, police, and paramedics. He pleaded guilty to breaching nuclear non-proliferation laws by shipping plutonium into the country, a charge that carries a prison sentence of up to 10 years. But his lawyers arguing that Lytton is not some maniac or mad scientist. He's just a nerd who had made it his goal to collect all the elements in the periodic table, even radioactive ones. He did not import or possess these items with any sinister intent. These offenses committed out of pure naivete. It was a manifestation of self-soothing, retreating into collection. It could have been anything, but in this case, he latched onto the collection of the periodic table. Lytton is apparently an avid collector who owns all kinds of stuff. Stamps, banknotes, plutonium. But prosecutors disagree that he's just a misguided, harmless collector claiming that seeking illegal materials like plutonium created a market that might otherwise not have existed in Australia. 24-year-old man ordered a tiny little sample from a U.S.-based science website and had it delivered to his parents' home. His lawyer claims that the package had his name on the box, which suggests he had no intention of using material to do any harm. Authorities knew exactly what was in the box and who it had been ordered by, but instead of seizing it, they asked him for an explanation, and they allowed the plutonium to be shipped. And I'm not even sure what's wrong with plutonium, but I don't know nothing about it. The level of the response was a massive overreaction given what the investigative authority already knew. Rather than give him an opportunity to return the items, the kitchen sink was thrown at him, along with the utensils inside, which they didn't really do it. He's just a burger flipping dude at a fast food restaurant. He's a trainee train conductor, but he was fired from that. But things get even worse as the charges against him carry a maximum sentence. Now, I don't think that's what he's going to get. I mean, it just seems silly to me, but what do I know? I don't know much. But what I do know is I want to be this guy. 92-year-old man completes his 30th consecutive Rome Marathon. Now, when we talk marathons, we're talking 23 miles. And if you're 92 and you can do that, man, there's hope for me, bruh. And I'm like, of course he can. This year he completed his 30th Rome Marathon in under 7 hours. I don't know about time, but if you're 92, I feel like if you can just do it without, blowing out your spleen, you could take all day if you wanted. If you needed some extra motivation to get up off your couch and go for a run, just know that a 92-year-old man completed the 42-kilometer for the 30th consecutive time, and he improved on last year's time by 10 minutes. Raul is not your average pensioner. He lives for running and still trains 20 to 30 kilometers each week. Born in 1933, he ran away from his home in Calabria to Rome when he was just 10. Well, man, he started running when he was 10 and hasn't stopped running since. He claims he started running daily as a teenager to keep up with a friend who must have been a really fast walker or maybe really tall. I don't know. But it became a huge part of his life. He hasn't missed a single one since. If I can do it at this age, anyone can. I'd like to be an example of that. Well, God bless you, Antonio Rio. He crossed the finish line in 6 hours and in 16 seconds. I think that's crazy. Finishing under 7 hours is amazing for a man in his 90s. I haven't been feeling well lately, and he didn't think I could finish it. Instead, I finished with a time 10 minutes less than last year. Walking is life. I invite everyone to do it. Well, I mean, maybe I will. Now, this is another fun one for you. This is the news of the weird. Shepherd Express. 50-year-old Detroit man who uses a wheelchair. He tried to kill a cockroach by throwing his shoe at the pest. Okay? So let's just think about that a second. Unfortunately, there was a loaded revolver he had hidden in his shoe. Fell to the floor, went off, shot himself in the foot. He was reported to be in stable condition after going to the hospital. I love this last sentence. No word on the cockroach's condition, so I'm guessing he missed. But ain't that like a cockroach, dodging bullets, eating your cereal at night. Now, this is kind of wild. Jordi Roca, 46, chef and owner of the Michelin 3-star restaurant El Cellar de Can Roca in Spain, has created a lit dessert that'll set diners back $362. Now, this is crazy, okay? So for the pricey confection, he extracts the essence of old books. Now, this is wild. By spreading their pages with deodorized butter and letting it rest overnight so that it gets in and starts to smell like this old book, which I'm assuming the smells from musty and from mold. All right? So I'm not sure I want that anywhere near what I'm eating, much less kick down $360. So then he removes the butter with a spatula and dissolves it into alcohol, which evaporates and leaves the perfume of an old book and about 40 million, mycotoxins. All right? Roca borrowed the process called enfleurage from the perfume industry. The resulting liqueur is dropped onto a pudding and adorned with petals of torn pages of the book. If dessert is a book, eat on. That is crazy. Well, we got something here. A couple of American tourists visiting Dublin for St. Paddy's Day felt the wrath of the Irish after they tried to stiff a carriage driver, the Irish Sun reported on March 19. A video from the scene shows a driver chasing the two men after their horse and carriage ride. When he catches the men, he whips them with a stick, demands, "Pay me now." After several more strikes with his whip, one rider pulls out his wallet and says, "I have money, I understand. But even after he'd been paid, the driver whipped him a few more times just for fun. To which one replies, "I'm sorry. We learned our lesson." And that's the kind of stuff you hear on What in the World with Wilson on KRFF. Let's keep looking around, shall we? What else we got here for you guys? Here we go. Here we got something for you. Monster, in quotes, hiding under Kansas child's bed turns out to be real. That stuff always just trips me out. Kansas babysitter got the shock of her life when she tried to show a child that there was no monster under their bed, only to find a complete stranger hiding there. And by hiding, I mean, is that the right word? Like, what are you doing under there? It sounds like a cheap scare right out of a horror movie, but it just happened just a few days ago in Kansas. Now, the fact that it's in Kansas makes a little more sense. A babysitter looking after children in the town of Great Bend, which I thought was in Indiana, whatever, was trying to calm a toddler down after they had told her there was a monster under their bed. And that's the way it always goes, right? Mommy, I'm afraid there's a monster. And they're like, of course there is, why don't you just come sleep with me, or whatever they say. That's one of the most common fears in small children. And one of the easiest way to calm them down is to show them there's nothing to fear. Only in this case, there really was someone under there, an unknown man who'd been hiding there for who knows how long. Okay? As the woman leaned down to check under the child's bed, she came face to face with a man, I would literally just urinate on my britches. But instead of losing her cool, as most people surely would have, she confronted him and even got into an altercation that caused one child to be knocked over. Now, you're fighting this guy? That's even wilder. The strange man managed to escape, but the babysitter alerted the authorities, and he was shortly apprehended. Well, good. The monster under the bed was identified as Martin Villalobos Jr., 27, who once lived there, but had been ordered to stay away from the property under a protection from abuse order. Obviously, he couldn't stay away and now faces serious jail time. He's being held in county jail on a $500,000 bond. He's facing charges of aggravated burglary, which I don't understand that, battery, child endangerment, felony obstruction of a law enforcement, and violation of a protection from abuse order. So good. That guy, looks like that guy's going to spend some time, and that's nice. Now, I got another great one for you, because it just don't make any sense, and there's some French here that I'm going to have to try to read, all right? So I'm not French. I don't know how it goes, but it's what it is. So a shop named My Wife is a Sow raises eyebrows in France. A small delicatessen shop in Cannes has been making international news headlines because of its controversial name, Ma Femme est un cochonne. My wife is a sow. Which isn't very nice, He should be a little nicer to his wife. All right. Ever since it opened in mid-January, this name, a delicatessen shop in Cannes, has been getting a lot of attention because of its usual name. Founded by a couple of bon vivants who love good food, the shop sells all kinds of treats, from cold cuts to spirits. And while we're sure their products are all excellent, many people are drawn by the name. Because my wife is a sow sounds more like an insult. But the two male co-founders swear they have nothing against their spouses. They love them. In fact, both of theirs find the name funny. They wanted a name that attracted attention. Well, that'll get it. And they definitely hit the mark. Now, they should be just selling a lot of pig products, right? Like pork. But it managed to attract some unwanted attention. Well, let's find out about that. Less than a month after its inauguration, My Wife is a Sow was slapped with a warning from local authorities. The owners were ordered to take down the sign featuring the controversial name and 2 sketches of a humanoid sow carrying a hatchet, or face a fine of, check it out, $262. Seems like we just heard that just a little bit ago. Oh, about the weird moldy book pasta. All right. Until they complied. Asked if the decision had anything to do with the name, they said the decision was only based on the fact that the small business had failed to register its sign, which was against the law. And of course the owners disagreed, and I do too. After we put it up, we were quickly attacked. The person in charge of the file made it clear to us that the name was problematic. Many people have never applied for permission to put up a sign, but My Wife is a Sow isn't going anywhere. The owners have already had a new sign made and installed it inside, right at the window, so the authorities can't say anything anymore. They claim that locals found the name funny, as did their own wives, the only ones who should be insulted by it, and I agree. Again, you're listening to What in a World with Wilson. TGIAF is on deck, so hang out for that. I've got a little songy song for you. My good friend Weird Al's got a little something for you. Here we go. It's Handy 95.9. I'm so handy. Weird Al Yankovic on 95.9 Radio Free Fargo.org. What in the world with Wilson? I'm Wilson. We're talking about crazy stuff. And if you've been hanging with me, it's been a wild ride. I got more stuff for you. And so let's get at it. Again, I told you this was going to be a bodily fluid heavy show, and I can't help it. You know, it is what it is. Police catch India's infamous poop and run thief. And I didn't know that you could be infamous for this, you know, but police in New Delhi have finally been able to capture an elusive thief who would always poop his pants when in danger to keep people away as he made his escape. Do you know how good actors can cry on command? Well, apparently. Some people have the same level of control of their bowels, allowing them to defecate at any moment. Deepak, a 27-year-old phone thief from Delhi, India, was one such person. And he used his unusual gift to avoid law enforcement whenever they got close to catching him. According to a Delhi police spokesperson, Deepak evaded arrest multiple times by just pooping his pants. He created a stench. It was stinky. The police were repulsed, giving the thief enough time to make a run for it. The dirty trick, emphasis on dirty, was so effective that the police even named it Poop and Run. Now, don't get any ideas out there, people. Deepak's poop-fueled reign of terror finally came to an end when police equipped with masks and gloves apprehended him. Teams gave him a chase, pinned him down. As expected, Deepak deployed his infamous stealth plan, but the officers, they had gloves and masks, they thwarted his last-ditch effort and took him into custody. Deepak was spotted by a police patrol near this park, and knowing his poop and run technique, they prepared accordingly to make sure they can endure the stench of his poo. Following the historic arrest, and this is a real story, I'm not even making this up, you know, a case was registered against him under the Arms Act at the Sadar Bazaar police station. He confessed to multiple mobile thefts and knife-related crimes in the area. Police said that he had a long history with over a half a dozen cases against him. But his unusual defense mechanism helped him avoid capture for a long time. And I feel like if I was a cop, I'd be like, bruh, I ain't messing with you, poopy. We know this sounds like something you'd expect to read on The Onion, but it's apparently a real news story about a guy's crappy superpower. And you heard it here. I brought it to you. All right, so what do we got here? This is kind of interesting, and we'll bring it to you. Captain America man indicted for trying to storm Chinese embassy. Prosecution indicted a 40-something man earlier this week on charges of attempting to trespass into the Chinese embassy and a police station in Seoul, which is no big deal, but the man surnamed On and known to be a supporter of President Yoon Suk-yeol drew media attention when he tried to rush through the gate of the embassy without permission while dressed as the Marvel Comics character Captain A. He is accused of creating a fake ID. And so that's crazy. And so now I got some stuff for you here now, and I don't know what to give you first. The dumbest criminals of all time, or 13 bizarre federal crimes you don't want to believe. Let's go with the bizarre federal crimes. Okay. Now, officials estimate that there are at least 4,000 federal criminal laws, but the specific number remains a mystery. With that said, it should come as no surprise that many of the laws are outdated, superfluous, and downright bewildering. Here's 13 bizarre federal crimes that are sure to leave you scratching your head. Number 1, transporting dentures across state lines. Now, that is nuts. Now, I got dentures. I guess they're called that. 18 U.S.C. 81821 says it makes it a crime for non-dentists who make false teeth to ship their product out of state. This jaw-dropping law was enacted decades ago, but doesn't have much teeth to it. Maximum sentence, 1 year in jail. Now, this should be obvious. But if you're using Smokey Bear or Woodsy the Owl without permission, it's illegal. Only you can create forest fires or give a hoot don't pollute for commercial purposes. You get 6 months in prison. Now, this one here should go without saying. But if you provide a pirate with provisions, you give him a snack, you give him a cookie, it's a felony. And you find yourself in 3 years in prison. So, let me just implore the people listening today, please don't give a pirate provisions. Okay? Now, if you find yourself at the Supreme Court, the statute's 40 U.S.C. 6133. Makes it a federal crime, shmeem, makes it a federal crime to climb a tree at the Supreme Court. Now, this is wild, okay? Writing a dollar check. According to 18 U.S.C., issuing a check, note, or token for less than $1 can cost you freedom. Now, I don't understand it. I don't get it. But you can get 6 months in the Hooskow. All right? Now, here's a crime, federal crime, to injure a government-owned lamp. Now, I don't know what they mean by injure. You know, like what, cut it, break its leg? I don't know. But you can get 6 months behind bars if you injure a government-owned lamp. So try not to do it, okay? Now, if you find yourself roller skating in an undesignated area of a national park, it's prohibited, and you can get 6 months in jail for it. Now, I don't even know. See, now, and I haven't read these, you know. I don't know what we're getting into, but number 8 is mislabeling turkey ham. 9 CFR 381-171 strictly prohibits labeling the words turkey or ham in different sizes, fonts, and color on a turkey ham. You can get 1 year in jail for that. What? I don't get it, y'all. I'm just reading it, but let me interject right now and shout out to our community partners at Fix It Forward Auto Care with 4 Fargo, Moorhead, and West Fargo locations. They handle anything from routine maintenance to complex vehicle repairs. Fix It Forward focuses on quality, integrity, and giving back to the community. For more information, you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, or at the website at fixitforwardautocare.com. I do want to apologize now that I don't have a crackhead story of the week. I wanted to, I just forgot. Because I'm on crack, you know, and crackheads forget stuff, so sorry. Now, number 9, issuing a false weather report. Today's forecast is 90 days in jail. If you knowingly give a false weather report, it's a federal crime. Now, this is going to blow your mind because I just read it. My mind is blown. Importing African rats without permission is a federal crime unless they're boiled, salted, or stuffed. Okay? So just keep that in mind. 1 year in jail for that. Now, you better keep your pigs off of federal grass, okay? Don't do it or end up in the Hooskow. It's a crime, federal crime, to knowingly let pigs, cattle, horses, or any other livestock enter a fenced-in area on public land where they might destroy the grass. You get 1 year in prison. Oh, now this is crazy. Okay, so I've been guilty of this, you know. I've been doing this since I was a kid. Flashing the 4-H sign if you're not part of the gang. If you're not part of the 4-H gang, you better not be flashing the 4-H sign, which I don't even know how you do that. I mean, I know how to do a 4, but what's the H? I don't know. But it's a crime. It's a federal crime for people who are not associated with the 4-H youth organization to use or display the emblem, sign, Or words, you could get 6 months in jail for that. Well, wait a minute. Okay. Let me just tell you this right now. I'm a Galaxy Note owner. I have the 9. Okay. Number 13 is if you take a Samsung Galaxy Note 7 smartphone on a plane, you could get 10 years in federal prison. I probably have flown with one. What? And up to $179,000 fine. What in the world? Well, apparently there's been a series of mishaps resulting in the phone blowing up and catching on fire. 10 years in prison for bringing a Galaxy Note. I got one. That is insane. And you guys, I hope you enjoyed that, because I did. And I didn't even know that was happening. All right, so now what I have for you is meet the 38 dumbest criminals of all time. This June 7th of last year from Reader's Digest, so this should be a good one. All right, so let's see what we got. Police in Austining, New York, were called to a mini-mart where they found Blake Leak, 23, trying to break in. They chased Leak through the streets till both cops took a tumble. Seizing the opportunity, Leak, he sought refuge on the grounds of a large building. The building was the Sing Sing Maximum Security Prison, where he was promptly nabbed by a guard. I do want to say that this show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook, 1,200 megs locally grown hemp, whipped up into a fun tub for your outer body. It's outer body butter. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show. Now, I used to do all the drugs, and now I don't. I thank the man upstairs for helping me do that, and I show him props. Every Sunday, 417 Main Avenue, Antioch Church, 10 a.m. recovery, 11 a.m. worship. Now, let's get into this. This is the case of the liquor store Lothario. Now, I don't even know what Lothario means. Scottish shoplifter Aaron Morrison was picked up after pinching a bottle of vodka. It didn't take Sherlock Holmes to find him, though. His name and phone number was left with the clerk after asking her out on a date. That was in South Dakota, which makes sense. Just kidding. Okay, the lowest high there is for a trio of drug thieves. It was their lucky day. They broke into a home in Silver Springs, discovered 3 jars of cocaine. They took it home and snorted it. That's when they discovered that the jars were in fact urns, and they were snorting the cremains of the victim's husband and 2 dogs. You dummies. I love this show. The case of the not-so-devoted dad. Bring your child to work day is a long-honored tradition that allows children to see what goes on in the business world, while also getting the chance to watch their parents ply their trade. One crook brought his young son along with him on a job, which happened to be robbing a pet shop. He was caught soon after, but he was without something important. His son was left in the pet store. Watch where you're going. As 2 men waited in line at the coffee shop to pay their bill, a third cut in front of them. He threw a drink at the clerk and demanded all the money. Temporarily surprised, the man quickly recovered, handcuffed the crook. What, he had handcuffs on him? Apparently in his rush, a criminal didn't notice they were police officers in full uniform. Oh, well. Here we got the couple that drinks together. Stays together, I guess. Recently, a woman in Fresno was stopped at a Dewey checkpoint for being sauced. Ever helpful, she offered up this info. My husband's right behind me, and he's even drunker than I am. Oh, that is great. That is great. It's the worst possible time to faint in the middle of robbing a bank, but that's what happened to a Beaver Creek, Ohio thief. The teller called 911, asked for medics, but you have to applaud the man's stick-to-itiveness. Well, the ambulance was en route. The suspect handed a note to the teller, demanding all her cash. While you're waiting. Here we got a Louisiana story. Mitchell, walked into a Baton Rouge, Louisiana hotel, asked the clerk for a room. The clerk wasn't a clerk. He was a state trooper, and I don't know why, and the hotel was actually a state trooper station. Oh, wait a minute. You walked into a cop shop looking for a room. That's when Des Latte was arrested and charged with driving while intoxicated. You might be breaking the law in this U.S. state where it's illegal to swear in public. I didn't know that. Graham Price of South Wales, he ripped off the bank where he worked, but he wasn't completely duplicitous. He left a note in the safe, borrowed £7 million, signed Graham. Good Samaritan noticed an elderly man being robbed, so he jumped in, punched the thief. Thief was so upset he called the police to complain. That is ridiculous. When Stephen Crane broke into the Ravelli Republic newsroom in Montana, he used the computers to watch porn and check Facebook. Then Crane doused the office with a fire extinguisher, took some candy, and left. Can't believe I'm reading this. It wasn't difficult to find him, however. The police just followed the trail of stolen M&Ms that led to his sister's place across the way. Can you read me now? When police in Vancouver, Canada asked to search Jason's apartment for drugs, he was not a suspect. In fact, they were looking for someone else. That all changed when they got a look at how his name was listed on his cell phone. Jason, drug dealer. That's ridiculous. All right. Two men decided a back-to-school event at an office supply store would be the perfect time to do some shoplifting. After all, store clerks would be busy helping customers. Sale happened to coincide with the annual Shop with a Cop Day, when about 60 cops showed up to help children pick out supplies. All right. Well, we've got a Chipotle story for you. Dan Juarez had it all figured out. He could be a cop without having to take the boring test. But he was arrested in Grapevine after pulling over a driver in his pickup truck outfitted with flashing lights. He had an ID badge he made by blacking out a restaurant gift card and etching in the word police. However, he kept the restaurant's logo, a jalapeno pepper, surrounded by the words Chipotle Mexican Grill. Oh, yeah. Well, you're listening to What in the World with Wilson. I'll be back next Thursday, unless something wacky happens to me. The case of the returned merchandise, Target store in Augusta. Agreed to take back a printer from a dissatisfied customer. Then the clerk noticed some work the customer forgot to remove from the machine, counterfeit bills. All right. What else we got? In Mesa, Arizona, a home break-in was foiled when the burglar jumped through the bedroom window and got trapped in a clothes hamper. Cops took it from there. Let's see. A German bank robber sent mocking emails to local police ridiculing their efforts to arrest him. First, he let them know they had his age, build, and accent wrong. Then he corrected their announcement that he'd escaped on foot. No, he had a getaway car. Get it together. The cops got the last word in, though. When they arrested the guy a few hours later, they used his email to trace him, of course. After a man kicked in the front door of a Texas home at 3:30 a.m., the resident fled, called the police. When cops arrived, they were surprised to find the intruder hadn't stolen a thing. He was just enjoying a warm bath. Robbie Rose lost his first-place medal and was charged with a felony after it was discovered that he cheated in a Texas fishing tournament by stuffing a 1-pound weight down the throat of a bass he caught. Officials became suspicious. They put it in a tank. It sank to the bottom. We're going to give you one more. This is called banana attack. According to the bus driver, it was a brutal, unprovoked attack. A woman got on his bus, assaulted him with a half-eaten banana. I had banana all over me, on my tie, on my shirt, and my eye. The woman explained to the driver it almost hit her car, and that when she entered the bus to rationally discuss the matter, the banana slipped right into his tie, his shirt, his eye. The court may not have believed it, but it did believe her when she argued that it was unreasonable that a banana could cause this much damage. They slapped her with a fine of about $100. Well, you guys have been listening to What in the World with Wilson. I entertained myself, so I hope that was reciprocated. I'm going to jump out of here. We got a show up next, so hang out for that. But right now, it's Remember to Breathe, Sturgill Simpson. Peace.